Hey there, let me start a timer, a 30 minutes timer. Okay, um, so I want to focus on the following things: the view mindset, which is vulnerability, impartiality, empathy, and wonder. The second thing that I want to focus on is my breath and my body, the sensations, letting myself to feel my breath and the sensations in my body. And thing number three that I want to focus on is interplay between my feeling of shame and enjoyment. And because of this recording and because of the environment I'm in, it is a pretty unsafe environment, and I deliberately selected it so that I can have an opportunity to explore how my shame, to explore my shame in these situations. And to explore that, I will pay attention to that environment in which I'm in, so I can be heard, I can be seen here by other people, and that I'm being recorded, and that talking about it right now stimulates or invites that shame response that I have, and that I want to explore. And actually, in my life currently, shame is the area that I find myself exploring way more, or exploring at all. So this is another opportunity to do that. And as a part of this exploration, I want to discover and experience it, and also see the story behind the shame that appears, the way I interpret it. And also I want to explore the here and now place, space, and become aware of the difference between the story, the shame response, and the actuality of the situation I'm in, where my shame is. And that's the direction I want to go. I notice shame right now, and it's unfolding, and it stops me, or I see how it appears in my system. Well, it stops me, it kind of stops me, but also not completely. And I can still be aware of the present and of the sensations in my body, of my breath, and of little but noticeable changes, internal changes, and how my voice changes, how the tension in my throat changes real time, and how internal emotional response flows, where some things are, some areas that are they're really quiet. They're not quiet, they're not suspended. They are, say, frozen. They're just like, and cautiously awaiting for some danger. They are becoming less present, less visible. So I am observing how this happens, and I think it is enough. And yesterday on my therapy session in the group that I was participating in, I started thinking, I raised this question of shame, and I started thinking about what I want for myself in this, when I'm feeling shamed, when it's toxic shame, when it's like this. What do I want? What do I want for myself? And I certainly discovered that what I don't want is to for other people to try to help me escape this state, escape the shame, escape the feeling of it. What I want is more related to, well, part of me, partially, I don't want to feel this. I want to escape this situation. I want to avoid it. But also, a part of me wants to be seen and loved in this, and treated with care, gently. It wants to be spent time with, to be asked, to be given space. And while I'm saying these words, each word, not only each word, but it feels like each word exposes me. It shows me as if I'm naked. And while I'm not saying words, I'm still here. I am still here, but it's different, and it feels different. It feels not as exposed compared to when I'm talking. So words work as this conduit of my soul that moves it outside, that exposes it. That is how it feels. So, on the updates, I've purchased the Great Decisions course, and it starts in about 1 week, the next Friday, and this is the most expensive course that I have ever purchased, and I'm scared that it won't be as valuable as it costs. So I'm quite scared. But maybe I'm scared more of being seen there, of actually being there, being seen, and I internally freeze when I think about it. Yes, that's that. And at the moment, I am reminding myself to get back to feeling my breath, to get back in touch with my body, to notice my feet, to get back into my body and experiencing, feeling this from within my body, saying these words from within my body. So, slowing down, paying attention to my breath, and being from my body. And actually, I think, or from what I notice during this, is pretty hard, or staying in this, staying grounded while paying attention, or while being aware of being recorded and being recorded and being in this environment where I can be seen, where it can be heard, where so the environment that feels socially unsafe. And what I could do, this is I'm curious to apply this. So in the impartiality, was it impartiality? It's with wonder. In the wonder session, there was this exercise of questioning assumptions. And so the current assumption is that being here and being seen and being heard is socially unsafe. So that is, and being vulnerable in this is socially unsafe. So this is assumption number one. And also assumption number two, that even say if this is social and safe, and what I'm doing here, that this will lead to negative consequences, total negative consequences. So that if something happens because of this, later, that would be negative. So that would subtract something from my life, subtract something important. And so so this is assumption number two. And this is so cool. It actually works. I see what it does in real time, and it's so weird. So when I think about this, when I notice the assumption that, oh, wait a second, recording this right now means that it is socially unsafe. Say being awkward, being exposed, being recorded is socially unsafe. But it's, and I can see that it's actually not, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what this would lead me to or what the outcome would be, but it's definitely, it has this opportunity of being disgraced, being exposed, being laughed at, and still being laughed at that is leads to some bad outcomes. That also is an assumption, and I can see that it is an assumption, and it doesn't necessarily mean that. What I can also see, and what I'm learning about myself, is that it was in the past for me, in certain situations, dangerous or unsafe or socially risky, say. But the assumption is, or what runs in my system, I see that assumption or that belief that experience is not necessarily true right now, and it might change from a moment to moment, from a situation to situation. So I cannot specifically for this, for recording, for speaking to the camera, for even saying that this is a video, that I'm doing this and that, and that actually does not mean that it's unsafe. And it feels, I see that I'm like, my system starts to have this 404, and it also, I feel like freeing. It feels freeing that I don't know. I see that assumption. I see that, oh, okay, wait a second, this might have some bad or unwanted consequences, but that is a story. That is actually the story that Hudson talks about. That is the story, and that story. But it's a story plus bodily sensations plus emotional response plus a lot of. So it's not just a very simple like combination of several words and say thought patterns. It's more than that. And yet seeing that this whole combination of like emotional response, probably memories that I don't have full access to, but they were embodied or they encoded in me, that combination, that set of perceptual like thoughts, emotions, bodily response, nervous system response, that set is it works based on a certain assumptions. It predicts an outcome based on the previous story, on the story that happened when I was 7 or 5 or 14. And what is way different right now is that I'm not 7, and the environment is a completely different environment. There's for sure there are certain things that look similar that might be actually, like, even these assumptions, they will be they could predict him accurately in certain situations, certain responses, say, but again, they could predict certain responses, and those certain responses, who said that they are bad, like eventually, say. So that's just, it feels weird and freeing. This is bad. So probably, from what I see, questioning assumptions, or even noticing assumptions. It's not even like questioning assumptions. For sure, I'm going to question those. Like, oh, okay, I'm curious, and I am playful, say. But questioning assumptions is what I see resonates with me. Wow, this is super important, or I see that as super valuable. I see a lot of cool stuff in that. And now that I think about assumptions, actually assumptions are, they're like foundational part of the story and story strength, and also ineffectiveness of the story, because it's not effective. Yeah, that is, it is not effective. Ooh, I can see that. I can see why it's not effective, or one of the reasons, like, or one of the consequences of living off a set of assumptions that are outdated, that are not that are not accurate, that might be inaccurate, like, at all, not like, that might be false in the current situation. Oh, it's it is so, wow. That might be a very cool tool to experiment with. Like, what happens if I start paying attention to my assumptions? Just notice them. Notice when my assumptions are accurate. Notice when they are inaccurate. I could even set up an experiment and test those. So there's really, oh, oh, holy shit. I can, I cannot stop noticing the assumptions that I have, the amount of assumptions that I have regarding the JavaScript course, regarding the content that I create, regarding my work, regarding how I uh, build relationships, how I navigate a lot of things. Like, for example, right now I am in this in the verge, like, or I want to find an apartment in Warsaw for a rent, and I need to call. I need to make calls. I need to call the people who post available apartments for rent. And my assumption is that those people are hostile. They are, and it is actually an assumption. Those people are hostile, that if I don't know Polish, then I'm screwed, that I'm going to be tricked, and that if I, for example, use English to communicate with those people, then it decreases my chances to find a good apartment, and it increases the chances of me being tricked by those people. And that my assumption is that all that call those people experience will be an unpleasant, negative experience. And this is the set of my assumptions. This is what my, say, internal predictor, creates for me, or anticipates in that particular thing that in my life. So but that's not the case. And also, what I could do with that, if I say don't know Polish, I could find a person that would help with this apartment search. And that so for example right now, a person came like close to the room that I'm recording this, and I noticed that immediately my body detects that and responds with the change, a very noticeable change I see in my body. And so the assumption is that being seen, being seen is something. It is something. So that it for sure is something, but the sensitivity to that is. So what's the assumption here? Maybe it's not an assumption. Maybe it's not an assumption. Maybe it's an emotional response. But is there any story attached to that emotional response? That's an interesting part. That is an interesting part. But, as I said, it is what? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not here. So this assumptions, this exploring the assumptions thing, I like it. It sounds and looks very interesting. And I want to learn more about the assumptions that I'm building my life on and that I'm doing. So, for example, right now I have this assumption that I need to learn Java basics, to learn whatever to get the job, that I need to build a project, that I need to first become competent to start the search, that it's required before, that there is a certain even route to getting a job the way, like that way, but are there any other ways to or routes to go? And maybe I don't know. I could learn about those. I could learn, but maybe if I notice these assumptions and look or think about other options, that might open some interesting paths and opportunities to me. So that is what I'm like, wow, it is super interesting, and I feel fresh right now. I feel like I'm very focused on this thing. So okay, thanks. I'm gonna thank myself for recording this video today, and for doing this, for practicing, for discovering an amazing, or for seeing more clearly, vividly, this amazing thing about assumptions. And I'm gonna see you, I don't know, in the next days,